Green team, set, hit!
Good morning, football fans, and welcome to our very special 2023 NFL Draft Recap Edition of 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. The draft has concluded, and we are ready to roll. Next stop, oh, you guessed it, the schedule release coming up in just days. My goodness, 5 days to be exact. And, well, we'll be talking about that coming on up. But I'll tell you right now, that draft was a doozy. And why do I like to say doozy? Because, damn it sounds cool. And I did not know that it was once a car. Yes, fun fact for the day. With that said, welcome in, of course, my co-host for the day. He is basically the Mel Kiper of IE Sports Radio. He is, of course, also the head of the blog here, the chief editor, and host of Let's Whine About DMV Sports. The guy does everything but sell popcorn here at the station, and, well, I don't know, we might have to start making some popcorn so we can get it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, he, of course, is the one, the only, Mr. Mike Patt. What's going on, Mike? How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, and I would just like to let the audience know that my hair is real, so the Mel Kiper comparisons are not exact.
This is correct. But he is our draft man. So, hey, I'm just saying, I failed. Okay, whatever. I failed just like I did the actual mock draft, Mike. I failed. So,
You were closer. You were really close this year, Larry. You were close to winning it.
well, it feels good to almost win it. But hey, you know what? You gotta give props to the real winner over here. We'll talk about him in just a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, we got so much to get into today in our hour, trying to squeeze it into an hour, of course, of football talk. That draft was a good one, and, well, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a good show. You are now tuned in live to the 2023 NFL Draft Edition of 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans, and here we are on a beautiful Saturday morning. My goodness, the weekend is here. Oh, man, working for the weekend has never been so true, especially as a teacher in May when we are literally counting down the days. My goodness, I mean, it is just, we are on the home stretch right now. We have just weeks to go, and yeah, every teacher I know and what I'm working with, it's just everyone seems like they're on autopilot right now and trying to, but, of course, with that comes the awesome draft. With that also comes the schedule release coming up next week. We'll have a show about that. And, of course, with that comes the long-awaited summer, those rookie camps, the OTAs, and before you know it, us teachers are back at work, in August, and the Hall of Fame game is being played, the preseason is here, and it's time to see what these rookies can do, and, pretty much everybody else, those free agents that cost so much money, those, were they worth it, were they not, were they a dud, were they a gem? Some of those 6th-rounders may look like Tom Brady, some of those 1st-rounders may not look like Tom Brady. I mean, so we will see, and, well, it's time to talk about it all. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, welcome here, or joined by my boy, Mr. Mike Patt, and, well, we had a lot of fun during this mock draft. It was, yesterday's last week's show was a lot of fun. And I'll tell you right now, we certainly, without a doubt, had no idea that it was going to be this crazy. Usually there's some trades, usually there's some whatever, going on. No. This draft blew a lot of drafts out of the water the last couple of years. And yeah, before we even start, recapping the picks, Mike, I mean, just overall, how about that freaking first round, man?
That was a wild first round. The trades, some of the picks just completely out of left field. Probably one of the most entertaining first rounds we've had in a while. Probably you have to go back to pre-COVID times when teams were a little bit more risky with some of their moves. But yeah, no, that was an entertaining draft to say the least. And fun fact, I don't know, you probably saw this on social media, but they set the record for the most draft day, first round, second, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, most draft day trades of any draft in NFL history.
I love that. I love it because, damn it, why not? It was just a great... It was, I'm just going to say it like this, the movie draft day, at the end, we had a great day. Like, I kind of feel like there were some teams that could truly say that. And for the NFL, and for all the fans, at least I want to say the majority, I seriously say we can all say that. Unless
I agree. It was just two trades in the first 6 picks. Like, man, that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I'm telling you, everybody watched draft day this year. I think all the GMs watched it. I seriously do think, and everyone was trying to be Costner. Like, I feel like it. That's what happened this year, man. So,
when everybody tries to be Costner, nobody becomes Costner.
This is so true. But man,
everybody just looks crazy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Everyone looked crazy. And honestly, that was so much fun. What a draft. What a way to start this freaking season off. I mean, the combine was great. A lot of these guys looked really good out there. But oh man, just you can't script this kind of stuff. I loved the fact that. Well, let's just get into it, man. Because this is going to be fun. So, all right, Mike. With that said, the NFL draft has concluded. Our first round pick has been selected, and Mr. Irrelevant has also been selected. That means the draft is closed, and everybody is headed to where they need to be. Some are there already. I'm almost positive, and they're getting to work nice and early because there's a lot of work to do for lots of teams. So, with that said, Mr. Mike Patt, how about this, brother? First overall pick, surprise, surprise, right? The shock of the night. Quarterback Bryce Young out of Alabama goes to the Carolina Panthers. How about this to shock the world to start the draft, Mike?
Am I detecting a hint of sarcasm in your voice, Larry B? Leading up to the draft, and we discussed this in our mock draft challenge, like the more, the rumors came out, the more people were attacking CJ Stroud, who was really the only other logical pick. Entering draft day, everybody was fairly confident that this was Bryce Young. It was almost a unanimous selection amongst our mock drafters. Somebody tried to play with the Vegas odds when the odds changed for Will Levis. I think 3 days before the draft, somebody tried to play that and said Will Levis would be the number 1 pick. That was the only dissension amongst the top pick. But yeah, no surprise here. Bryce Young, number 1. It was the logical choice. Carolina needed a quarterback. He was the best one. Done deal.
Absolutely, Mike, and let's just go ahead and talk about this real quick. What does this do for the Panthers? It may sound kind of stupid, but really, what does this do for the Panthers? What are you really thinking this year? I know we all know things could happen, injuries. Unfortunately, we hope that's not the case. But once again, just overall, in a perfect world, right now, drafting this young man, what does this do for these Panthers?
Well, it finally gives them a direction at quarterback. You have to remember, this team, ever since Cam Newton started to decline, this team has kind of been fumbling the position. They haven't really, they haven't tried drafting a replacement. They've gone through hand-me-down after hand-me-down, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. There are a couple other guys in between there as well. They even brought back Cam Newton to try him again. So this finally gives them a direction. It finally gives them a franchise guy that they can work with, that they can build around. It gives them some stability at the most important position. Now, as for their expectations for this year, probably still a little curbed because, hey, rookie coming into the league. He does have a solid offensive line in front of him. He does not have amazing weapons around him. And they have a pretty good defense. So I think they will be decent, but this isn't like an Andrew Luck move where he's going to come to where Andrew Luck came to the Colts and they made the playoffs their first year. Or same with Robert Griffin III and the Commanders. This is a guy, he's going to come in, he's going to get some experience, he's going to take some lumps, the team is going to be decently competitive, but this isn't a day one snap, now you're a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, great athlete, awesome quarterback, but he needs to gel. The whole team needs to, of course, gel. They need a lot more pieces to go. But yeah, this is a step in the right direction, a huge step. And as we quoted from Draft Day of the movie last week a lot, or 2 weeks ago a lot. A quarterback is a good thing to have,
Yeah, very good thing to have.
So yeah, Mike. So alrighty, man. So next off the board, just chaos starts to happen because the Texans get their pick, and once again, I mean, the shock of the nation after this. I mean, we were shocked already with the first pick. The second pick, my gosh, that was something else, because quarterback C.J. Stroud is headed to the Texans. But wait, there's more.
There is indeed more.
Because the Texans were like, we're not done. And they basically said, so we got a quarterback, but we need an edge rusher because we haven't had a quarterback here, and we also need another edge rusher since, maybe J.J. Watt or Merciless or some of the other monsters they've had there in Houston. And I'm, very, very, very defensive over here. So I love what they've done on defense for a long time over there, but their offense has always been lacking. Well, they picked up a piece that just may really do the deal with Stroud, and then they make a trade, a little draft day magic there, a little Kevin Costner magic. And, hey, Will Anderson, the monster from Alabama, 2 players in the first 3 picks from Alabama, of course. Will Anderson Jr. headed over to the Texans as well. Mike, I mean, can you explain that trade for us, and of course what these 2 guys mean for the Texans?
Well, yeah. So I think we briefly discussed this, or at least I attempted to discuss this through only having half of a voice during the mock draft show. But a lot of the rumblings and the rumors were if there was going to be a trade with Arizona at 3, it was going to be for a quarterback. But we also discussed, well, why wouldn't a team trade up to take Will Anderson, one of the 2 or 3 best players in the entire draft, and definitely the premier edge rusher? And lo and behold, that's what ended up happening. Now, Houston did give up a lot for this trade. They gave up a second-round pick. I think there might have been a swap of late-round picks. I can't remember. But they gave up their first-round pick next year and a third-round pick next year. So they gave up a pretty significant amount of future draft capital to go up and select Will Anderson. Now, there's also the argument to be made, well, it was really for the right to be able to take both C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. So if you couple the 2 together, it makes it look a little bit better. But this was a big trade. It could be a franchise-defining trade because if for some reason, and I never wish this on players, but it does happen, if Will Anderson does not become the Pro Bowl edge rusher that people anticipate, then it looks really bad. But what having both of these guys does, well, A, it reinfuses some excitement into a franchise that had really struggled to recover from all of the Deshaun Watson drama. They traded him, but they never got over him because they hadn't actually replaced him. And now they've got a new direction. They've got a quarterback who's got the inside job to being one of the best in franchise history. Because let's face it, the best quarterback in Houston Texans history, going back a whole grand 20 years, of course, is Matt Schaub.
I remember him.
Probably a pretty good shot for this kid to now own the franchise. And now you have a premier player on the other side of the ball to help make the defense make plays. So overall, a big move, a franchise-defining move for a team that has struggled to get out of its own way and its own shadow.
And what a way to do it, and I like that a lot. Will Anderson is a day one starter. I'm just going to put it like that. There's nobody on this defensive line besides Jerry Hughes, of course. Jerry Hughes, I remember watching him at TCU.
And we also must acknowledge that there were probably about 200 day one starters for Houston in this draft for them to pick from. So in all fairness,
when someone says, "Can we draft a football team?" Houston actually did it this year. So.
Yes.
Because everybody, I don't give a crap who you were. You could have been first overall for the Houston Texans, or you could have been the late 7th round guy, and you actually have a shot of starting.
Yeah, you got a pretty good chance.
Everyone has a chance to start for the Texans. Hey, if you show up to OTAs and you're a Texan fan, I don't know. They might time your 40. I don't know.
Hey, it's worth a shot. I could play fullback. I'm just saying.
Right? Seriously, we should just show up, dude. Hey,
show up.
They'll be like, "Hey, come here. You come here. You guys come
here." just show up and say, "Oh yeah, we were 2 undrafted free agents." They'd be like, "All right, what position? Fullback, D-line. All right, go over there.
Let's go. Let's do this." And the odds of us actually making the team, well, that's going to get, Well, I'm just saying that's Houston for you right now, and it's so honestly, Mike, I love it. I think. Jerry Hughes now, what is he, 34? He's my age. My gosh, man. He's getting up there, But Hughes, I remember seeing him at TCU. He's a badass. I loved it. I like what he brings to the table. And there's a lot. There's a lot of good coming from Anderson now, Collins, Rankins. I think this is really, really, really good. Great job by these guys. And we're going to see how these picks fare out for them. So having the second and third, once again, second overall pick, C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State, to the Texans. Then they make a trade. And, well, Will Anderson, edge rusher, of course, coming out of Alabama, is also headed to the Texans. So, fourth overall pick, Mike, I really thought Levis was going to go. I really did. Because I was like, okay, they want a little more experience there at the Colts. Nope, they surprised the crap out of me. Didn't surprise you or Adam Karnick or anybody else. But, it was a great pick. Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida, is headed to the Colts. Mike, this one is huge. Just do your thing.
Well, this is very similar to Carolina. This is a team that has struggled to recover from their previous franchise guy moving on. In this case, Andrew Luck. They've tried retread after retread after retread. Some very well-known ones as well. Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan most recently. They needed to, quit with the lollygagging and get their guy. And Richardson, I think John Felipe, who's the host of Carolina Cast, also a very good friend of the 3 and Out crew, said it best about Richardson is that year one, no, he might not be able to impact the NFL great as a passer. He's still developing there. There are still a couple of mechanical things to work out. Still needs to, be a little bit more patient with his reads, some of the comments they got. But even if he can't do that, he's going to run his absolute socks off around the field. And if anything, he will bring an impact to the Colts day one and give them something to grow towards for the future. Another pick might not instantly turn the franchise into a Super Bowl contender. And honestly, to be honest, if you were to compare Carolina to Indianapolis, Carolina overall has the better roster as well. So Indy might still be kind of down in the dumps for another year or two, but it gives them a direction. It gives them their guy to work with for the future and somebody with incredible upside as well.
Without a doubt, Mike. Everyone's saying it's going to be a quarterback battle. You got Gardner Minshew there. Sam Ellinger, I don't know if he's really going to be a part of it, but for sure, Gardner Minshew, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of it's going to be a quote-unquote quarterback battle. But at the end of the day, I don't, that's no disrespect towards Minshew, but I don't know how Richardson doesn't start. I do feel that he's got amazing upside because his athletic ability, and let's see what he's got. Michael Pittman, of course, absolute beast. Very, very, very happy for that guy, of course, coming out of SC a couple years ago. A couple years ago. Was it last year, I think?
No, it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know he's like 25 actually. Awesome. Receiver there. I mean, he's got some weapons, not a whole bunch, but there's a few. The defense definitely needs a lot of work, but realistically, they're they're good. They're good, Mike. The defense can play. It's just, can they actually get it done this year? So there's a lot of question marks with this team, but realistically, man, Richardson, if you're going to take somebody, once again, I just thought experience, but no, they want that athlete. And when you think about it, let this guy get out there and play a little bit. He'll get all the experience he needs. So great job. Awesome pick by these guys. Pick number 5. Oh my gosh.
The beginning of the end for all of the mock drafts, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, here we go, man. Look, the Seattle Seahawks, they haven't had a secondary like the Legion of Boom for a very long time. They've tried so many times to reincarnate that thing in some way. They've all been failed attempts. But I'll tell you what, you may never get that Legion of Boom again as it was. Maybe, I don't know. But, this pick right here completely threw me off. But, dude, I don't even care. I love it. I think it was great. Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. I mean, he is arguably the best corner, most complete corner to come out in the draft this year, and this dude is incredible. Freaking nature athlete, and wouldn't you know it, Pete Carroll pulls a trigger. How about this one, man? Witherspoon to the Seahawks at pick number 5.
Yeah, this was a little bit of a surprise one, and like I said, it threw off every mock draft in the challenge. At this point in the mock draft challenge, most people had either like 2.5 or 3.5 points, with the only miss being technically technically points were taken off when Houston traded for Will Anderson, but you still got points because Will Anderson was the 3rd pick. So several people, including myself, Adam Karnick, I want to say Taryn Rodriguez as well, had 3.5 out of 4 points up to this point, and this was beginning of the end for most of that. But I mean, it was a little bit of a strange pick because last year Seattle scored in the 4th round with the 5th round actually, with Tariq Woolen, and he turned out and finished 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting, and I think might have made like 3rd team All-Pro or one of those lower All-Team Pros. He was really good, and a couple of their other younger corners had played as well. But in today's NFL, you cannot have enough corners. You cannot have enough pass defense. So why not? You've got multiple early round picks. Use one of those picks and continue, take a position group, the secondary as a whole in Seattle that was good, and make it great with one of the elite defenders in this draft class.
That was it, to me, it was great. I mean, why not? Seeing this guy come off the board at 5 was awesome. You get to play. I mean, when's the last time we've seen anyone from Illinois getting picked this high, Mike?
I couldn't tell you another NFL player from Illinois. Right?
I'm just saying, it was awesome, man. You know what, the Fud and the Illini, this was great for them. They produced an amazing athlete here. And when you think about it, the Seahawks, once again, a team that needs a lot. They really do. And seeing this guy, I do believe he's a day one starter.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. He's going to come in and he's going to take that cornerback spot opposite of Woolen. And it's going to be tough to pass on them. You're going to need a really good quarterback and really good weapons to pass on that duo. These guys are great in man coverage.
Oh, they are. And you know, Jamal Adams now, Quandre Diggs. Like I said, this is going to be a good little secondary here. You know what? Once again, I don't know if it's quite Legion of Boom status yet. We haven't seen it. But damn, you know, and now they're playing over there that 34 more, which is, you know, uncharacteristic. I'm used to seeing Pete Carroll with that 4-3 over there. They're switching things up, running that 34 guessing game defense, as I always say. They're going to use him in a lot of different ways, and you know what? Good for him. That's a great pickup, and we're gonna see what he does, man. So, alrighty, continuing on. Pick number 6, the Arizona Cardinals went ahead and took a big man because why not? They have a quarterback who they don't need to be freaking injured. And, you know, what's one of the... I mean, when you have a nice car and you live out in the dirt, some people usually get a car cover. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, you want to protect that thing because it costs a lot of money and because, well, you want to keep it nice and undamaged. So I am not comparing Paris Johnson Jr. to a car cover because, well, a car cover is very flimsy, and this man is like a steel wall. So, yeah, Mr. Paris Johnson Jr. is a beast, and you know what? Great pick. This is something that Cardinal fans should not be mad at this, Mike.
No, absolutely not. When I saw Paris Johnson, I was watching the draft. I will admit I did fall asleep around pick 12. If I'm being honest with you, it's called dad life. What can I say? But no, when I watched the draft and I saw Paris Johnson walk out on the stage, I was like, "Good God, that is an NFL offensive tackle if I have ever seen one.
Ever,
dude is huge. Yeah, he's massive. He's tall." Ridiculously long arm, barrel chested. I was like, man, the only other guy I can remember having that exact same thought was when Brian Bulaga was drafted by the Packers. Just this big barrel chested dude walking out on stage. Can't even walk normally because of how he's built. But no, I mean, this was a great pick. And look, I will give the Cardinals credit on this draft. So for those of you who remember the past couple shows, and Larry, you know this is the formula I use, when I react to drafts right after they happen, I do not give grades. I say that I either loved it, liked it, or I rate it as a we'll see. We'll have to see how this works out. Arizona's draft landed as a we'll see, but it was intentional. Arizona wanted that to happen. This team is not going to be good this year, and that's kind of on purpose. Kyler Murray is going to miss the first half of the season guaranteed due to a lingering injury from last year. Everybody knows this. So why would you try to put your stock into competing for this year when your franchise quarterback isn't going to be there?
So smart.
You take these guys, and if you look at the rest of their draft and you look at their moves, they traded back with Houston and didn't gain a ton of picks this year, but some picks next year. And then they traded up with Detroit, which cost them the picks from this year, but it's all for the net for next year. They're playing for 2024. So you take a big mammoth tackle with tremendous upside and you look at the rest of their picks. They're kind of the same way. It's like this guy, yeah, he might not be great as a rookie, but 2024, he could be a monster, and that's what we're aiming for.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, this dude is going to make it happen. Another day one starter. I don't know where they're going to put him. They got Humphreys, they got Beecham, Will Hernandez is over there. They're really making some things happen, man. Like, they really are. I love it. They're trying to really build this offensive line, and you're right. Let Kyler Murray heal up. Let this team just continue to gel. Let continue to build and build and build and build. Yeah, this team will be scarier than all hell in maybe like a year. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's gonna be cool to see what they do. So Arizona fans, don't get angry. This was good. So alrighty, Mike. On to pick number 7. Heyo,
here we go.
What can I say? I can't believe it. I actually pegged a draft pick for the Raiders. Does that mean that it's a good pick? I mean, let's hope. But once again, for those of you who remember me 2 weeks ago, I said, screw it, pass rusher, because...
Screw it, defense.
Screw it, defense. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, the Raiders don't have much to cheer about. And at least you can get a guy who can get after the quarterback because, well, you don't have anything else. You got a quarterback now that we don't even know what's going on. We got, some receivers that, yeah, they're pretty good, but who's going to get them the damn ball? We got an offensive line that's shaky. We got a defensive line that didn't really, well, besides one player, didn't really exist. We got linebackers who... Wait, we have linebackers? And then we have a secondary that just basically doesn't want to cover anyone. So, I mean, what do you do? Screw it. Just get we already have a crazy defensive end in Max Crosby, so just get another one. Get another crazy dude. At least at all times the defense is on the field that you have two crazy dudes who can actually get back there and somewhat, just freaking do something to hurry the other quarterback. And maybe some strange twist of fate, he'll throw a pick, or maybe they'll get to him, sack him, get a fumble, scoop and score something, because the rest of the team really isn't going to do anything. Well, they did exactly that, Mike. It was crazy, but they did. I liked this guy. Tyree Wilson to the Raiders with the 7th overall pick. I loved it. Texas Tech product. The guy is a beast. I think he's extremely talented. And at the end of the day, Mike, hell with it. He's going to get after the quarterback. I know a lot of people were irritated. Jalen Carter was still on the board. I understand that. But, dude, what was Jalen Carter going to do? The same thing? I mean, come on, man. This team needs everything, okay? So, to me, as a Raider fan, honestly, Mike, I feel like we won. I feel like it was a good pick because we need a lot of things. I mean, what's your take on that, Mike?
Well, if you're a team like the Raiders, and the Raiders had several... So, everybody talks about needs entering the draft, but nobody talks about really the different levels of need, because a team could only have say 3 needs, but if they're all first round level needs, then you've got a problem because you don't have 3 first round picks usually, or if you do, then great job. But if you only have 1 first round pick and you have 3 first round needs, then what are you going to do? So the Raiders were a team, when I was studying them entering the draft, overall, not a ridiculous number of needs, but several of their needs were pretty high up. So at some point, you just got to take the top player on your board, the best player available, plug him in, especially if he fulfills a need, and just let him get some quality on this team. This defense as a whole, they have a couple of great, they have a couple, 1 or 2 great players and a few really solid players, but they needed stars, studs, dynamic players, and they got one. So, and he filled a pretty significant need on the defensive line. So, to your point, what's there to complain about? You got a star.
Exactly. Don't be mad. Very well said, Mike, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, do not be mad. He's somebody we needed. I mean, my gosh, if we could draft an entirely new team, we would, seriously, because the needs on this team are extreme. So yes, why not? And you know what? He's gonna work out. This is great. I'm really, really excited for him to start. I know he's gonna be a starter. Some people may say he's not. I think he will after what I saw last year. But we'll see. Regardless, though, good stuff. I liked it. The Raiders got themselves a nice, solid playmaker, and this is good. So, all right, Mike. Pick number 8, the Atlanta Falcons will get a guy that, well, let's just say they're another team that needs basically everything. But you know what? Hey, you can't go wrong with a dude that, you know, can carry the rock a significant amount of the game. I liked it. I thought it was pretty solid. We all knew he was going to go high somewhere. Some people, you know, don't like to take running backs high. I understand that. Some think that taking running backs high is a great thing. I personally believe that the day of the single running back that does it all is possibly over with, because, you know, I think Adrian Peterson was the last of that. Now you need tandems and you need lots of, you know, different backs to take over in different areas, and I don't know. But overall, Bijan Robinson to the Falcons, you know what, once again, like, I mean, they need so much. How do you draft wrong? To me, this is a pretty good pick.
So I have a couple of questions for you, Larry B. This is your NFL trivia time.
Oh, here we go.
Which NFL team led the league in rushing yards per game last season?
Was it the Titans?
Nope.
Was it the Falcons? I'm just kidding.
It was the Atlanta Falcons. Let me ask you another question, Larry B. Which NFL team led the league in yards per carry last year? Very important stat. How many yards you're getting per rush? Which NFL team led the league in yards per carry last year?
Was it the Giants?
No, it was not.
Was it the Falcons?
It was the Atlanta Falcons. So, yes, Bijan Robinson is an amazing talent. And if running backs were not supremely devalued because of how you explained it in today's league, you need 2 or 3 of them, he would have absolutely been a consensus top 10 pick. But because, you know, running backs don't hold the same value that they used to, you know, usually they're not projected that high. I love the player, and I think the value's fair. I don't understand how it vastly improves the Falcons. Now, also, in all fairness, Atlanta had a very good free agency. People have not talked about this. Atlanta added a ton of defensive talent in free agency. They got safety Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. They added cornerback Mike Hughes. They added Bud Dupree after he was released by the Titans. Wait, was it Bud Dupree? Yes, Bud Dupree. They added Calais Campbell after he was released by the Ravens. So they added a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. But I still thought there was room to add more defensive talent. But I guess if you're not going to go with the needs per se and just go with the best player available, then sure, you go with Bijan Robinson. But it'll be interesting to see for me if other needs that they could have addressed continue to be problems, because instead of attempting to address them, they went with the value pick.
That is hard. That is a definite. That's the opposite of the Raiders. I feel like you went with the guy that, yeah, he's gonna do something for you, you know, but you need other things that,
right,
really,
right.
You know.
Now,
so.
if you were to compare the Raiders and the Falcons, I would say, you know, there's a very good chance that both teams just took the top player on their board.
Yeah,
because that's what most teams do in the top 10, anyways. Or that's what most teams do in general. But in the Raiders' case, the player they picked does plug into an area that they could have used. With the Falcons, they plugged it into an area where they were already one of the best in the league. And oh, by the way, they returned everybody who contributed to those numbers. Tyler Algier, Cordarrelle Patterson, quarterback Desmond Ridder, who will be the full-time starter for them this year. So I would say this was a little bit of a head-scratcher in terms of, you know, if in the draft you either have a position that's weak and you want to make it strong, or a position that's decent and you want to make it stronger. But you're already in the stronger category. So why are you trying to go up from there?
Good points. No, you're absolutely right, Mike. He's gonna get a lot of carries this year. They're gonna play some good, some good ball on the offense. Defense needs work. I mean, it's a lot. There was a lot here that could have been done, but yeah, value pick all day. Let's see what it does, Mike. I know it's one of those head scratchers. It really is, but we're gonna see. He's a hell of an athlete. And I'm excited to see him play. I want to see what he does.
Now, I will add an addendum. I know it sounds like I'm being harsh to the Falcons. I do not think it hinders their chances of playing really good football this year. I'll throw that part out there.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that. So, Mike, Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox,
okay,
Josh Sweat. Those guys are pretty good.
Pretty good football players.
You got some guys here that know how to beat an offensive lineman and get to the quarterback, and yeah, they're pretty good. They're okay. They're not the best in the NFL or anything. I'm just saying they're not a near Super Bowl winning team. They're just average players, I guess. Psych. You have one of the absolute monstrous defensive lines in the NFL, and what do? You make a trade, and you go get another absolute monster who plays with his freaking hair on fire to go get the quarterback for this team. The Eagles officially have the nastiest defensive line I think I've ever seen alive. Okay, this team is insane, and yeah, they just added a complete freak of nature athlete, probably one of the best absolute players coming out into the NFL this year. Jalen Carter out of Georgia joins the club of those four monsters. And, well, yeah, I don't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do. I mean, at this point in time, hell, just go to a 50 front. I mean, just 2-3 techniques, a 0 and 2 freaking ends playing at a 9 or a, depending. But, yeah, I mean, why not? Oh, my gosh, you just added... I don't know how the Eagles are going to be scary. Oh my gosh. Every single offensive line that they play this year should seriously add some 2-a-days that week. I mean, I don't know what else you got to do, but this defensive line is going to be insane. Jalen Carter will head to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike Patt, I mean, wow.
Wow, indeed. And, honestly, I'm surprised there wasn't a wave of interior offensive linemen from the other NFC East teams retiring after this pick was made. I would have envisioned at least half of the Commanders' interior offensive line just handing in their resignation. So I can't do it. I can't do it. The pick makes sense. I mean, value, yes, check, absolutely. Need. It's a subtle need for the Eagles because Fletcher Cox is getting a little bit up there in age and he's only on a 1-year deal. So having his heir apparent in place makes a little bit of sense to go with the mammoth Jordan Davis, who's big even by football player standards. I mean, why not, right? I mean, if you look at this Eagles team, their two biggest needs were safety and running back. Safety, there wasn't a good value here in the top 10. And running back, the only guy you can make an argument for was Bijan Robinson, and he's gone. He's off the board. So why not just take the best player available and just say, screw it. If they can't run the ball or the quarterback doesn't have time to throw it, they can't score, right?
It's the best philosophy. It's the truth, Mike. Screw it. Yeah, we got the two guys off the board we wanted. Screw it. I don't even care. Or, you know what I mean? You're right. No, I'm sorry. One guy off the board that we wanted, and we don't have a safety that's going to measure up to at least what we have. Therefore, we're going to take this freak of nature and make our defensive line even better. And by the way, good luck everybody else trying to get the damn ball off. So,
right. And yeah, don't even bother trying to run it up the middle. Let's start there.
Yeah, you take out every ISO, you take out blasts, I mean, you take out whatever you run. No, don't even dare try to do a draw. Like, I mean, it's not a good idea. This defensive line.
Have you ever seen the movie Rush Hour 3?
I sure have.
The scene where Chris Tucker's character is in the I get the martial arts place. And he walks into the back room, and the really big guy is there, and he looks up, and he goes, "Dang!" Yeah. That's going to be NFL offensive linemen going up against the Eagles' defensive front. They're just going to walk up and look up and go, "Dang!"
Well, I'll tell you right now, that's a perfect segue into the 10th overall pick, because the Chicago Bears drafted a dude that, well, a lot of guys look at him and go, "Dang!" because... yeah, Darnell Wright is probably one of the biggest human beings I think I've ever seen, and seeing this guy now head over to the Bears, it makes sense. Chicago Bear fans, you should never be angry at this. You got, just like the Cardinals, you got an absolute stud, a freaking monster. This guy is going to help keep Fields' jersey nice and clean. I mean, just what an absolute animal. And they hit it out of the park with this, Mike. I love it. Darnell Wright with the 10th overall pick heading over to the Chicago Bears.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you had a need at tackle. You had a guy who's one of the best tackle prospects in the class. He's sitting there on the board. Immediate day one starter at right tackle, which is probably your biggest hole. I mean, it's just a pick that makes sense. Don't think too much on draft night.
No, you're absolutely right. It makes sense, and realistically, that's it. Now, we've made it out of the top 10, and we can go a little bit quicker, I guess, with some of these picks. I guess those bigger needs where it needed a little bit of talk, but the same thing with us here, too. Keep it simple, and you know what? Here we go, man. So, pick number 11, another one of these it makes sense picks, because Peter Skoronski, absolute beast. You know, you have this team, I don't know, they're weird. The Titans are very weird. But you know what? Realistically, you have now another big monster for your offensive line. Look, it's going to help keep your quarterback safe. It's going to help open up holes. I mean, this one's kind of, I don't know. They could have gone a lot of ways. I mean, what are you really thinking about this pick here for the Titans with pick 11?
I thought it was a very good pick. You know, this is a team that's had offensive line issues for a couple of years, largely due to injuries, but they're trying to remake it. They brought in a couple of free agents, and now you add in the most technically sound, the most experienced of the top offensive line prospects, and a guy who's going to come in day one and impact the line somewhere. Does he have the upside of a couple of these other guys? Maybe not, but he is nasty. He's a very good athlete. He's country strong.
Oh, yeah.
And will impact your offensive line day one. This pick, I like it for the Titans because it makes the Titans better now.
Absolutely. You know, you're correct. I was thinking of a lot of different ways, but you know what? You got me on that, right? You're absolutely right. I mean, I was just thinking, well, quarterback, but then again, they couldn't really do much. They still got Levis in the second round. I mean, I don't know what that's really going to do.
Which was brilliant, because a lot of people thought the Titans might be in on Levis at 11, but instead, you get the offensive lineman who will protect Levis in the future, and you still get him in the second round. It was a brilliant draft at the top by the Titans.
It was. Absolutely brilliant. It was, and yeah, I mean, who knows who's going to start this year? I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, Skoronski is going to start this year.
Skoronski is going to start this year.
Yeah, he's an impact. So, pick number 12, dude, the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Alabama, is heading to the Detroit Lions. Mike, I mean, what? Come on, man, talk to me. What's up?
I had briefly fallen asleep while this pick was going on, and then I woke up to the announcement, and I was like, I was like, did I hear that wrong? Am I still half asleep? Let me go back to sleep. Maybe when I wake up, I'll have heard it right. No, I heard it right. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is a very talented player. I do not want to take away from that.
Yeah.
And congratulations to him on getting that really good contract of a 12th overall pick.
Yes.
And I thought the Lions might be in on a running back. I thought they might be moving off of DeAndre Swift if they had the opportunity, which they then turn around and did not long after this pick. But at 12, I mean, I guess if the board was just really not working out for them, then yeah, I mean, go ahead and go with the guy you want to get. But I don't know. We're going to have to see, because if there are guys that could have helped Detroit go, if there are guys that went 13, 14, 15 that become all pros at positions they needed, it's going to look really bad for the Lions.
I don't know, dude. I'm right there with you. This one hit me. I was like, great pick, but did you need it? Like,
I saw a stat. Somebody posted that there was because they ran simulation models based on needs and valuations. There was a 98.7% chance that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be available at 18, which was the Lions' second first-round pick.
OMG, just kidding.
We'll see. That's why the we'll see category's there.
However, another team in their division.
Yes, that's right. They were next. I forgot.
Who had all kinds of different speculations of what's going to happen this offseason with a certain quarterback, who's going to replace who's doing what. I love how they just came right out and said exactly what we were saying, like, screw it, defense, because Lucas Van Ness is just another one of those. Iowa has produced some absolute psychos in the last couple. I mean, I remember seeing Riley Reith years ago with like the hang clean record of like 4 something. Then you have Tristan Wirfs a few years ago who broke that record, I think, of hang clean with like 4 something. And I mean, seriously, you have these absolute monsters coming out of Iowa. Iowa has turned into a premier program. I really hope we see this team start to compete at the highest level in college football, because they're just, they are spewing out these players, and Van Ness is a freak of nature athlete. He has Packers written all over him. He looks like a Packer, okay? Because he looks like a nasty, mean type of like freaking Raininski type of guy who's just gonna knock the crap out of you. I mean, this dude is awesome. They made a great... Screw it. You know what? They got a dude who's going to help out in the defense. Who cares what's going on the offensive side of the ball? We're going to shut you down. I love it. To me, I don't know, Mike. I don't know if you love it or not, but I'm biased, I guess. This guy's a monster.
So, Larry B., when you started the show, you called me the Mel Kiper of IE Sports Radio. And I made a comment about the hair. But if I were to hang my hat on one thing in this draft, it's that I was one of only 2 people in this mock draft challenge that had the Packers picking defense. Admittedly, I got the player wrong. I think I had Nolan Smith out of Georgia going here, edge rusher. But either way, if I were to hang my hat on one thing, it's that I was right and that the Packers continue to refuse to draft offense. Now, of course, we also have to acknowledge is that they did draft offense with their next 3 picks. So they did help out their young guy. But in the end, the Packers did exactly what the Packers have been doing. They continue to load up on defensive talent. And Van Ness, you said it exactly right, Larry. He is a physical freak. He is a monster. He's going to get a nice year behind, which Smith is? Preston Smith, I believe, is the Smith that's still there, because remember they had both of the Smiths there for a brief second. And Rashawn Gary, another physical freak who the Packers grabbed 3 years ago. He gets a year with those guys to hone his skills and really, just be a nightmare for offensive linemen. I don't know how, kind of like the NFC East with the Eagles defensive line. I don't know how you look at the Packers edge rushers as an NFC North offensive tackle and go, yay, I want to go to work today.
Seriously, right? I mean, this dude's awesome. I love it. I think he's going to do great. And, oh, man, what a player. And here we go. 14th overall pick. Literally, here we go. The Steelers. The Steelers take a guy that, damn it, they just needed. It made so much sense. You don't have Big Ben no more. You're in a full rebuild. You enter the quarterback game now. And, well, once again, you draft somebody who you think can handle the team, even if you didn't. Well, you still want to build a nice offensive line because you never know who's coming out next year, and you never know who you can pick up in free agency. You never know who you can trade for. All I know is good offensive linemen are hard to find, and Broderick Jones is a freaking giant out of Georgia. This guy is a massive human who, knows a thing or two about blocking for championship teams. So,
indeed.
Yeah, what a job by the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Broderick Jones at 14. I thought that was pretty good, Mike.
Oh, I thought this was fantastic. If you go back 2 years, probably to Big Ben's last year, I would even say it was, the offensive line in Pittsburgh was atrocious. It was one of the worst in football. It was one of the worst graded by PFF. They had very few real long-term guys. Over the past 2 years, they have completely rebuilt their offensive line. They've attacked it largely in free agency, but they spent good money. They spent it smartly, wisely on good players, guys like Isaac Seumalo from the Eagles, bringing back Chuk Okorafor to keep the right tackle spot locked down. The only spot that they had left to complete was the left tackle spot. And among the top 4 offensive linemen, which everybody was pretty much in agreement that it was Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, and Darnell Wright. Jones, to me, was the guy who was best equipped to come in and specifically impact the left tackle position day one, because that's where he got most of his starts at Georgia. He's got the physical tools to do it as well. I thought he did really well at the combine. But here's the funnier part about this pick, and this is why I like this pick, is if you recall, this was the Patriots pick.
That's right,
They did not want to take Broderick Jones, but they knew that the Jets, their division rival, picking one spot after them, they knew that the Jets wanted Jones. So what do? They trade back with a team that they know wants Broderick Jones to flip the bird to their division rival. Oh, and by the way, as we'll talk about for New England, it still worked out for them as well, as we'll talk about in 3 picks.
I didn't even realize that. It was
the sassiest moment of the NFL draft for the Patriots to be like, oh, you guys want Broderick Jones? Hey, Pittsburgh, you want Broderick Jones? Okay, here you go. Come get him. Oh, the Jets wanted. Oh, they wanted Broderick Jones. So sad.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's Bill. I love it. That is
Bill. That is Bill Belichick.
That is awesome. I just absolutely loved it. And yeah, the poor Jets. Anything to, I mean, this is like the British and the French, man. Like anything to,
oh my God,
right? I mean, in history,
that is a great analogy,
right? Like the Brits and the French, like anything to freaking flip each other off. I mean, in history, the Brits and the French, just any possible way they can get into a war, anything they can do is if they were always rivaling each other, do not like each other. That's hilarious because it's the same deal here. Patriots and the Jets. I mean, I love that. That was great. So, with that said, Mike, we're going to do one more pick here. Then take a short break, just a few minutes, and then come around back, finish off the second half. And really, the second half is going to be kind of hyperspeed. We're going to get through this basically 90-minute show here today. But with that said, oh my gosh, man. Well, speaking of the Jets, Will McDonald. Hey, Will McDonald IV heading on over to the Jets because when your offensive lineman that you wanted gets basically stolen from you, in the weirdest way, I guess. I don't know if it's really stolen, but when the team, your rival, is playing keep away with the player that you wanted, because damn it, they would just end up right in front of them this year. Well, screw it, defense. I mean, right? Iowa State product,
Screw it, defense,
beastie player. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't know, but overall, hey, why not, right?
Hey, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people consider this a reach. McDonald has fantastic upside as a pass rusher, and when the board doesn't break your way, you don't really have a ton of people trying to trade up with you at that point. You just got to take your guy, and you hope that he becomes the impact player that you think he can be. And McDonald, as a pin the ears back, third down and long, go kind of guy, the Jets could use somebody like that. So I think it's well worth the shot, especially now that you have Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
I agree. It was a great pick. It was great. Mike, we have a whole half to go in literally just 30 minutes here. We are going to do it. But first, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we get back, we're going to be talking plenty more NFL draft right here on a very special 2023 NFL Draft Recap edition of 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff for my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
The Spanish Top Flight is here on Wellington Sports Radio. From past champions like Barcelona and Atletico Madrid to current champions Real Madrid and every team in between trying to fight for Champions League glory and trying to fight against relegation. It's La Liga right here on Wellington Sports Radio.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, there we go. Mr. Mike Patt whines about sports, DMV sports to be exact. And, well, you can catch him, of course, Friday evenings. He's the man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great show so far, and we're just going to continue it. Speaking of DMV sports.
Oh, boy.
Did I not pick a great time to do this? Take a break.
You picked a great time.
Speaking of DMV sports. Well, next on the board, and now we're in our sprint mode here, trying to get everything finished up here within the next 15 to 20. But ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Washington Commanders, and well, off the board comes this little guy, and I was kidding. He's not very big, but I think he can make a big impact. He's not the guy that I would have chosen, no disrespect, but they saw something in him, and you know what? Let's do it. Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. Hey, he's a D1 athlete. The guy played in the SEC. He's pretty solid. He seems pro-ready. Mike, talk to us.
So Emmanuel Forbes is a very skilled and talented cornerback. I believe, if I recall hearing correctly, he is either the SEC or the Division I all-time leader in pick sixes, which I did not know entering the draft. So very skilled, has a nose for the ball, forces turnovers, but he weighs 8 pounds, Larry. Let's be honest about it. I mean, we're crying out loud. Yeah. You could not have picked a smaller player, and for those of you, that was my son who just popped into the background. He shares my enthusiasm about this pick. I'm willing to give it a shot because he is super talented. He does have great length and fluidity, but he weighs 8 pounds, Larry. I don't know how he's going to stand up to NFL receivers, but I'm willing to be patient and give it a shot.
Mike, I just hope that I just hope that a big Paris Johnson type player doesn't pull and try to kick out the corner. Because
it's ironic because he's actually about half the size of a couple of Washington's later picks.
He's going to rely on his speed. So, we'll see, though. Let's see what he does, man. Pick number 17, Christian Gonzalez heads over to the New England Patriots. Corner. You know what? I love it. This guy's Colombian. Awesome. I loved learning about him during the draft. Thought it was a really cool story. And the guy is an absolute freak of nature. I'm a Pac-12 guy. I do enjoy some Pac-12 football. Know a little bit about him. I think he's a hell of an athlete. Overall, some people didn't like it. One of my really, really good friends, Patriots fan, did not like it whatsoever. He's like, why the hell is Bill always picking something stupid? I thought Gonzalez was a great pick. He wanted a receiver. There's a lot of Patriots fans who might have felt the same. Overall, I thought they got a damn good player.
Oh, I absolutely agree. He was the guy I wanted. When he slipped to the Commanders at 16, that was the guy I wanted because he weighs more than 8 pounds. But, he was a guy who the Patriots wanted even at 14 before they traded back. They traded back and they still got their guy. I think he's going to be an impact starter early, and he's got the size and the length to keep up or to match up with, pretty much any receiver in the league. I mean, there aren't exactly a ton of 6'5", 6'6" dudes running around anymore. So, he's got the physical tools you need to match up with these big receivers.
Yeah, he looks solid. I like him. Patriots fans need to give him a chance, man. They need their DBs over there for sure. So then there was a Detroit Lions, Mike, who picked yet again with the 18th overall pick. And what did they do? They said, hey.
And yet again had us scratching our heads.
Jack Campbell is another absolute freak of nature, a psycho athlete coming out of Iowa. I just don't know if the Lions needed that. I don't. We're skipping Detroit. I don't know, Mike. Talk to us. What's going on?
I mean, Detroit needed a linebacker. That's fair. Did they need to take one at 18? Could they have waited until rounds 2 or 3, where guys like Drew Sanders and Trent Simpson, other really good linebackers, probably even Jack Campbell would have still been on the board? I don't know. Here's the thing about taking a stand-up, off-the-ball, not a pass rusher, off-the-ball linebacker in the first round, is that if he does not develop into an every-down impact player, they are going to get destroyed for making this pick unless he becomes that top-notch guy. Now, could he? I think so. I mean, he's got a phenomenal size. He can play in coverage some. He can stuff the run for sure. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Larry. I don't know about this one. I just don't.
It was a weirdo. Pick number 19, man. Pick number 19.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
At this point, we're just, The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Vita Vea. So why not just go get another one of these guys? Kalijah Kancey, a guy that we had going pretty high. The Buccaneers pulled the trigger, and you know what? Screw it, defense. I mean, these guys, they had it. They had their pick of a lot of different players. I don't know. They Baker's their guy now. I don't know what they're really doing. But, yeah, screw it. You know what? They got a guy that can help them out on the defensive side of the ball. I ain't mad at him.
I mean, I do love the idea of 6'5", 350-pound Vita Vea lining up next to 6'1", 280-pound Kalijah Kancey on the defensive line. I think that's funny. Look,
right.
Tampa's going to have a down year.
Yeah.
They don't have Tom Brady anymore. They went 8-9 last year with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
This team is it's in a somewhat similar spot to Arizona, but their division's not as tough. This is a team that they're looking to 2024 to, A, get their quarterback in the draft probably, and B, have a resurgence of being competitive. I like Kancey, but I don't see how this pick makes Tampa that much better this year. And honestly, that might have been their goal.
Yeah. No, I can totally see that. It was oh my gosh. Clearing my throat over here. Yeah, it was a let's just see what happens pick. Screw it. Let's get somebody and hey, he might work out. I mean, I don't know. It works. So, pick number 20. The Seattle Seahawks were back on the board and, they went and got their DB early on in Witherspoon and, 15 picks later, Jackson Smith-Njigba was on the board, and why not just make your receiving core extremely nasty and pick this guy up because, he's there, and I love the Seahawks first round.
It was a great first round, and I mean, hey, they set themselves up so that you can't pass on us, and we can pass on you in a passing league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't really fault them. Bolstering the passing attack in today's game, there's no harm in doing that. And Smith-Njigba, despite his injuries this past year, was still, in my opinion, the best receiver in this draft. And to get that at 20 was really, really good.
Oh, I loved it. And speaking of another guy that was pretty good getting at a pick in the 20s, I don't know. I think some of us had this happening here, or close to it. Quentin Johnson is headed to LA to be a Charger. And you know what? Damn it, I love it. 21st overall pick, Quentin Johnson at TCU. He played the national championship. He played at a strong university this past season. He has proven, I think he's battle-tested. I really do believe, I know they got destroyed in the national championship, but I will tell you right now, this team, you know what, we're going to see a lot more TCU, I hope. But this player from this team, he's a special guy. And you know what, they need... Herbert he is proven to be one hell of a quarterback in the NFL. Just get him more weapons. Get him as many guys as you possibly can. I mean, seriously, he's going to find somebody. And just get him a playmaker that can go take the ball. I mean, realistically, it's a slam dunk. It was great. The Chargers are going to be scary. At least I think they will be, because Herbert is just that good. Another weapon, good for you, LA.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was a little bit surprised by this one because they did put some effort into keeping Keenan Allen and Mike Williams with the team a little bit longer this offseason. But hey, I mean, he's the best guy on the board. He's a great playmaker. You don't necessarily have to get him the ball in the passing game. He's just a threat with the ball in his hands. So they could do some funky things with him as well. Also, side note, Larry, I got to say, this pick, you had this pick exactly right in your mock draft, and it almost won the championship for you. It got you really close, because at this point, after pick 10, the average mock draft in our challenge got like a point and a half.
That is great.
Time somebody managed to score an exactly right pick, it was a huge boost to them. So I will give you credit, sir. Well done for making that call.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Mike. I just felt like it was a good pick. This kid, he's gonna help. I really do. And this is a Raider fan here. The Chargers last year, I had them going freaking all the way to the AFC Championship, I think, or even the Super Bowl. They gotta rebound somehow. This is a good football team, and seriously, Herbert, he's a great athlete, man. Get this guy some weapons. So, the 22nd pick overall would be yet another DMV team. And,
indeed.
Well, a guy by the name of Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College, is making his way over to the Ravens. Now we know that Jackson is getting extension. He's going to be their quarterback. I mean, Mike, what do you think? I know you talked all about it on Let's Whine About DMV Sports, as you did the Commanders, but how about this, man?
So I like the pick. He was a really good player at Boston College, a really dynamic weapon. He can play at all three levels of the field. He's really good in the slot, which the Ravens didn't really have a dynamic slot guy specifically. They had perimeter guys, Nelson Aguilar, Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, but somebody to operate out of the slot was a big need. So that part of this pick was good. He's 4'6", Larry. I mean, the Commanders picked a player who weighs 8 pounds, and the Ravens picked a receiver who's 4'6". Like, I don't know, if you know that size is a thing in the DMV, but it is good to occasionally get a guy who's a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? I say that in jest. I actually did like this pick. I think he bring a really nice dimension to this offense. I still personally would have preferred it if they had gone cornerback. Somebody to play opposite of Marlon Humphrey, either Deontay Banks or Joey Porter Jr. were still on the board. But if they were going to go receiver with who was on the board, this was one of the guys that I would have wanted them to take. So I'll give them credit for there, even though he's 4'6".
Little guys. Hey, it's all right, man. So,
and for the record, for those of you who don't know, Zay Flowers measured in the combine at 5'9", so that's his actual height.
I'll tell you, man. I think he can make a difference. This is gonna be this should be a very good pickup in the long run. I think for the Ravens, man, especially now with Jackson. But the 23rd overall pick. Oh man, I think I got this one right too. I love this because. Actually, no, I don't think I did. But I had him going somewhere. But I knew he was going to go in the first round. I was going to be so upset if he didn't go in the first round. Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC, heads on over to Minnesota, and good. Yes, I love this. He's going to do a lot there. He's going to really help out this team. I am just ecstatic. Man, what a great player. What a great pick. And he's going to a team that right now they are the cream of the crop in the NFC North. Say what you will. But right now, yeah, the other three teams, it's a big cluster right now in that division now that Aaron Rodgers is gone. And, well, this was a great pickup. So I'm very happy for this guy. I'm really happy for the team. And pretty good overall pick, in my opinion, for the Vikings.
I 100% agree with you, Larry. I mean, this guy, very skilled receiver, did not have the greatest season for the Trojans, but this is a guy. He's a nice route runner. He's got very good hands. And he comes in as a number 2 receiver, which is a great spot to be a number 2 receiver when the guy on the other side is Justin Jefferson, taking away double teams. So he's in a place where he can succeed with a dynamic partner opposite of him, with Kirk Cousins throwing the ball 837 times a game. This is a good spot for a receiver. And a very strange little run we've been talking about. 4 receivers in a row. And by the way, not a single other receiver taken in the first round. But these 4 picks, for some reason, these 4 teams were like, oh yeah, receiver, 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 receiver.
That was great. No, you're absolutely right. Well, to counter the receivers, we go back to the DMV as a young man by the name of Deonte Banks, which we talked about him plenty on the last show. He is such a good corner. I loved it. I thought you guys were going to take him. I really did. But, dude, regardless, he fell to 24. Deonte Banks, corner out of Maryland, is now headed to the Big Apple, if you will, up to the New York Giants. And man, I mean, I know they play in New Jersey, but anyway, I'll tell you right now, man, why not? Once again, a team who needs a lot. I mean, their offense is coming. The defense is just kind of... The last year, they were the surprise of the season, in my opinion. Why not just add more to that defense? This was actually pretty good for me, Mike. I don't know. I hope you don't disagree with me, man, but I really liked this pick.
I agree. Hey, look, after that run on receivers, to me, the biggest need for the Giants was a kind of a bigger receiver, but after that run, particularly with Quentin Johnson coming off of the board, there really wasn't a guy there on the board value-wise that matched that. So, yeah, go to your other needs. Cornerback was definitely another need. And this is a guy who can come in right away. One of the knocks on him, people don't love his fluidity and change of direction. So they didn't think he could operate in the slot. He's more of a boundary corner, especially with his size. But hey, you got a guy who can come in right away, be a number 2 outside corner, and start hanging with what is a very talented division for wide receivers if you look at their 3 opponents.
Agreed. So, on to the 25th pick here. Dalton Kincaid I love this guy. I couldn't stand him playing against the Trojans this year, but man, seeing him play was awesome. He has a great story. Overall, Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah, heads to the Buffalo Bills. The rich get richer, man. I mean, seriously, the Bills already have a stacked team. This guy, I think, is going to come in and be an immediate impact. Just what a pick by the Bills.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was a little bit of a strange pick for me because the Bills do have Dawson Knox, and Dalton Kincaid does not exactly scream tight end number 2 on an offense. But, hey, I mean, again, a team that was probably looking at the receiving list, and after those guys were gone, they were like, well, shoot, what do we do now? Hey, let's just get a tight end who's essentially a really big receiver.
Yeah.
And put him out on the field. I had him going a couple picks later than this, but I was actually personally very surprised he didn't go top 20. So the value is good. The fit is a little weird, but hey, he's going to be a weapon. He's going to add another dimension to that offense led by Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat. he's going to eat.
Oh, yeah, he is. And, I mean, he's true, man. Josh Allen, oh my gosh. He will find a place for him. He will get him the ball somehow. So, another pick that I thought was, you know what, they just need a lot. They really do. I know their interior needed it. But Maisie Smith, of course, defensive tackle out of Michigan going to the Cowboys. The Cowboys just need a lot. They really do. I just, to me, once again, it was hard to make a bad pick. Solid. They got a big guy now in the middle. Really, really, really cool. Overall, though, the Cowboys, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. They have needs, but they still find a way to win. Yet they don't win enough. It's weird. They're weird, Mike. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, it's really funny because the Cowboys continue to pour early day 1 and day 2 picks into their defensive tackle core. I think this is their 3rd or 4th defensive tackle they've taken on day 1 or day 2 in like the last 5 years. It's very strange. They keep trying and failing to address. But Maisie Smith out of Michigan, big-bodied, powerful defensive tackle. The Giants struggled a little bit against the run last year, so why not go out and get one of the best run stuffers in the class?
Why not? I mean, the guy is amazing. And I thought this was, why not? Once again, another solid pick here. So 27th overall, Anton Harrison. Big man, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Heads on over to the Jaguars. Screw it, because you need him. You need him. And if he was there, you should have taken him, and you did. You know what? You got Trevor Lawrence now. The Jaguars are finally looking like a franchise for the first time since they've had a couple of times where they've had sparks from their start, from the very first year in the NFL. A couple of years ago, they looked good. Last year, they looked decent. I mean, the Jaguars are making awkward progress, but it's progress at least. Let's see if this right here can really send them over the edge. I mean, protect Lawrence a little bit more. You have your guy. This, to me, was just awesome.
Well, Larry B., you said it. You found your franchise quarterback, a guy who's on pace to be one of the best you've ever had. And again, Jaguars, looking back at their history, kind of like the Texans, not really a ton to battle with. Ooh, Mark Brunell is probably that. You found your franchise guy. You're loaded with offensive weapons. Now you go out and you protect him with a guy who actually has had quite a bit of starting experience out there at Oklahoma. So somebody who's already used to the game a little, somebody who's played against the highest level of competition. He can come in. He can probably secure the right tackle spot, would be my guess, day 1. Plus, other offensive tackle, Cam Robinson, is suspended to start the season. So definitely needed some help on the offensive line, and they did so with Harrison.
Good stuff here, and I did not know that. That's crazy. Well, 28th overall pick, the Bengals, they're a pretty good football team. They proved it last year. They had a pretty damn good team. Well, once again, did they need it? Did they not? Did they just say, screw it, defense, let's get an edge rusher? But Myles Murphy, a guy that I think a lot of us knew was going to come out and be of impact somewhere. Well, he's headed to the Bengals, and why not? This team's actually flourishing right now. He fell to the right place, I think, as an athlete. Sometimes you're worried. Like, I know you're like, man, I'm a first overall pick. Yeah, I get it. You're going to go to a sorry team. This guy's like, hey, I'm trying to play football. And he's a first rounder. He's going to a team that has a chance. He's going to add more to that team. This guy, he won. The Bengals didn't win. He won. I mean, I'm just kidding. No. The Bengals won with him as well. I mean, I like him. I think he's a hell of an athlete. And you know what? The Bengals took him at 28. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, Murphy's a very talented player. He's got a ton of upside. And kind of like you said, screw it. Defense, right? Like, you're a team. You just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You went to the AFC Championship last year. Your offense is incredibly dynamic. I was personally surprised that this pick wasn't tight end Michael Mayer because tight end was because they did have a really big need at tight end, but Murphy's a really talented player, and there's no denying the value of getting him at 29.
No, 100%.
28 or 29? Which number are we at?
That was 28.
Okay, 28. I was close.
Yeah, so it was very, very good pickup, and really there's a lot of upside to this. So on to the 29th pick, Brian Breesy, this guy right here, or not Breeze, somehow how you say it, but dude, the Saints have their quarterback now because Derek Carr is a good quarterback, but the Raiders are just stupid. So yeah, this guy right here I love it. They're going to protect him now. They got themselves a veteran who's got many more years left in him. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know why I saw offensive tackle. But I like the fact that they have their quarterback now, regardless. Okay? Regardless. And defensive tackle, Clemson, my apologies. It's crazy to think they're going to go with a defensive lineman. I mean, they have a solid offensive lineman. Solid offensive line. But right now, I think one of the main concerns for the Saints is they couldn't really stop anybody last year. So just trying to help clog up that middle. Realistically, this is a very good pick. This guy's actually pretty solid. And more than anything right now, I think you address the defense because your offense has a chance now with Carr. So what do you think about that, Mike?
I agree. Now, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go with an edge rusher, but given that a lot of those guys had come off the board, maybe even a little earlier than people expected, guys like Luke Van Ness, Will McDonald, Miles Murphy going the pick before them, I think you still draft a player who can impact the defense, but just at a slightly different position. And hey, stuffing the middle is not a bad approach to the draft. I'm sure you would agree with that as a defensive lineman.
All day, Mike. All day, man. So next up, we just continue to go D-line all the way out now, man. Nolan Smith, we talked about him already. Once again, adding to this nasty defensive line. Here it is, man. Now you have Nolan Smith. So you now have six. Just freaking play a bear. Seriously. 6-man front. Just kidding. But this is the Eagles, man. That defense coordinator is happy. He's got so many monsters. The Eagles are going to be one scary team, and this just looks great. What a pick! The Eagles just continue to. I think the Eagles really, really did a great job this year.
At some point, you have to wonder if the Eagles aren't just going to put 11 defensive linemen on the field for some of their formations. But no, this was a fantastic pick. Again, running back need not probably great value right here for anybody in the first round. Actually, nobody really worthy of a first-round pick. Safety, you could have gone here, but shoot. Hey, pick an athletic freak who can help your pass rush. Much like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham is also, I think, only on a one-year deal and also kind of on his last legs. So why not get his apparent as well and just have an insanely deep defensive line?
100%, man. This is an amazing defensive line. And speaking of another defensive lineman, Felix Anduke, I believe, Ozuma. I don't want to butcher his middle name there, but this guy is, what we talked about, Frank Clark. We talked about how this defensive line is getting a little bit older for the Chiefs. Why not add a youngster here, somebody else who's going to help continuing to carry this reign of this pretty solid defense to help out with that. I love it. I think it was a great pick. The Chiefs, you know what? They took the best of what they needed, the best position of what their needs were. And seriously, this Chiefs team, they didn't even need a whole lot, really. And they just added yet another strong defensive lineman, edge rusher. Overall, this is a great pick. And the Chiefs, man, they're going to continue to be a great team.
Absolutely. This team needed some edge rushers entering this class. So, he was probably one of the best, if not the best one left on the board. I'm sure they were secretly hoping that Nolan Smith would make it one more pick for them. But that didn't happen. So, hey, go with the guy. Probably a little bit more prototypical for a 4-3 defensive end. And, insane upside, very talented player, somebody who could probably impact this defense day one.
Absolutely, man. This is just, that was a lot of fun, man. So overall, I know, like I said, we went a little bit over in time today. My apologies. It wasn't a whole bunch of time, though. But before you're out of here, Mike, I do want to say one thing. In your opinion, everyone always talks about it. I know we talk about the grade and everything, but from what we've seen, who actually won the draft to you?
So there were a few teams that I thought really did really well from start to finish. Most, I would say, were kind of in the middle. I don't think a ton of teams really crushed it this year. If I had to pick two, and this really pains me to say, my two favorite drafts were from two division rivals of DMV teams. I would have to say it was the Pennsylvania teams, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, because here's the thing. Philadelphia still addressed their needs later in the draft, but got insane value early. Pittsburgh went right on down the line, just checking one need off after the other and getting great value as well. So, I mean, looking through, I think there are a couple other teams that, analysts have been like, oh, yeah, they won the draft. Oh, they won the draft. To me, it was Philadelphia and Pittsburgh were the two that really took it home.
That right there, I didn't even think about the Steelers like that, but I agree. I think the Eagles really knocked it out of the park. The Steelers, now that you say that, and damn it, the Texans. I'm sorry. That was awesome. I know they gave up a lot, but let's see if it pays off. What a job from all of these teams this year. Let's see what they do, and my goodness, it was awesome. Mike, like I said, I know we went a little bit over on time, brother. You can go ahead and jump on out of here, man, but please let everybody know where to find you, where to find the show, all the good stuff, brother. Let us know.
So you can find me on Twitter at letswine_IESR. As you stated earlier, my show goes live on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, talking all things DMV sports and drinking some form of alcoholic beverage.
As always, it's a great job. Great job there with Mike. Mike, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for being here today, man, and really just taking the time, man. We appreciate you, and, well, we look forward to, the schedule show should be coming up soon, man, so, if you got some time, we'll be talking about that there.
We'll definitely see. I'll definitely look into it. It should be an interesting show, to say the least.
Oh, yes, it shall. So, appreciate you, bro. Thanks again, man, and we'll talk to you soon. Whoops, I don't know where Mike went. But well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Patt always does a great job. And definitely look forward to having him back here on the show again. Certainly a great show. And, well, that's going to pretty much do it, you guys. I just loved it. That was a fun show. And, well, at the end of the day, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to cue the music, because we're out of here.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
All right, y'all. That is going to do it for our draft show here today. Oh, man, it was a good one. Like I said, we're a little bit over on time. That's my apologies. A little bit of a late start, but it was a great show. We had lots of fun and, well, tons and tons of draft talk, as we always do. Schedule show is coming up next with the next week or so. And then we got plenty more coming up your way, you guys. 3 and Out primetime face-offs are going to be completely revamped this year. Oh, it's going to be a season within a season. You guys will see. Also, check your calendars, mark your calendars. 8 divisions in 8 days coming on up. Starting on July 17th with the AFC West. Going all the way through July 17th, we have the AFC West. July 18th, Tuesday, July 18th, we have the AFC East. Wednesday, July 19th, we have the AFC North and, the AFC South, that is, and the AFC North finishes up on the 20th, and then moving on to the 24th, that is the NFC West, and then continuing on that week on the 25th, it is the NFC East, on the 26th, it is the NFC South, and we're going to end with the NFC North on the 27th. Oh, it's going to be great. Plenty to get into, plenty to talk about, of course, and we got lots of USFL coming up your way. XFL Championship exactly 1 week from today. So much coming up in football. You gotta love it, right? With that said, you guys, We had ourselves a good one here today. Big ups to Mr. Mike Patt. And be looking for plenty of changes here at IE Sports Radio and, of course, to the show here. Lots of great things coming your way. And now that my life load has calmed down just a little tad bit, well, hey, you're going to have a much better show and a much better station because Larry B is back in the office. With that said, it was a fun one today. Big thank you to Mr. Mike Patt. Big thank you to, of course, everybody who tuned in either live or on the podcast form. Get this podcast, of course, where you get your podcasts. We have them pretty much everywhere. Check us out. Follow us on Twitter at 3and Out, all spelled out, IESR, IE Sports Radio, all over the place. Check us out at IESportsRadio.com and show us some love. You can follow me, your boy Larry B, at the THEE_LB53. And hey, we appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, big shout out to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the man above. For without him, nothing is possible. Without all of you listeners out there, nothing is possible. We appreciate you all. We thank you very much. And we will see you next time. For me, your boy Larry B, for Mike Patt, this has been 3 and Out. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless.